What is up, world? Today we have a Bleach 631 review, and before we get into that, I just wanted to apologize for last week's. Had several mistakes, kind of rusty doing all this. It's been a while, guys. But I kept on asking Nucklavar, or I think that's how you say it, Naklaval, I don't know. I kept calling him Knuckleval, and I don't know why I just kept doing that, but my brain was like, bleh, it's that. So, but yeah, guys, just wanted to apologize about that. But today, we actually have not a good chapter. Personally, I felt like this was a great chapter. Much like in the previous review, I spoke about how there wasn't really a lot of character development. And, you know, there really isn't too much in depth here in this chapter, but it is a total overhaul of what we're used to, I guess. But, as we know, since there is a backstory to someone, usually means they're about to die. So, because Haschwald is, he's a big baddie, he's the right-hand man of Juha, I don't see him dying, so we might see Bazz B going bye-bye. Unless we have a Renji moment where, you know, Kubo's just like, I'll keep him around. But, as you know, that the anti-heroes typically do get murdered. We got Gin died, and he was an anti-hero. It wasn't necessarily an antagonist when it finally came to light, and he got murdered. Tosin, he redeemed himself, or not really redeemed himself, but asked for forgiveness, and they had a touching moment with Shuhei and Big Bad Wolf Sajin. And anyway, so we've seen this before, okay, where the anti-heroes are, you know, doing something good, or they're apologizing or trying to get forgiveness, and bam, they're dead. So I don't want it to happen, because Bazz B just happens to be a really cool character to me, really different. But we may see him dead within, I guess, the next chapter or two. I'd say. I don't know. But anyway, the first 2 pages of this chapter, nothing. They do nothing but fight. And what it is, you know, it's just kind of a back and forth deal. Bazz B, you know, just starts attacking Haschwald. Haschwald jumps over him, and Bazz B points his crossbow, which was awesome for a spirit bow, you know. But there's something that we need to keep in mind here. And then at the bottom of this page, it has Bazz B's eye, and it's really, you know, and it's a theory that goes back to earlier Bleach chapters about how Ichigo, when he was fighting Gin, if you remember, that when he crossed swords with people, he can know what they're thinking or how they're feeling, and when he crossed swords with Gin, he never figured that out. So essentially, he says that in battle, I can typically find out how you feel or what you're thinking typically. If you want to kill something, or you're trying to protect something, stuff like that. So these panels with the eyes, because Haschwald gets one too later on, I think it's kind of that. They're trying to communicate with each other and find each other out. So anyway, we get further on. This goes to the backstory of Bazz B and Haschwald. Haschwald's out hunting. He shoots his bow at a rabbit and misses. And he's just like, oh, dang. But then an arrow goes straight through the rabbit, which is a spirit arrow. And Bazz B asks, what the hell are you doing? You suck. And Haschwald asks who he is. And then we get a very young Bazz B. And this is like a Spartan looking dude. He's got a cape. He's got Bazz B with the arrow coming. It's pretty cool how he is. And we could definitely see Bazz B's haircut comes from this helmet. Because it's kind of a Spartan helmet with the mohawk kind of deal. Anyway, he introduces himself as like, you're making the mighty Bazz B reveal his name first. And then he asks Haschwald, yeah, Twiggy Spring Onion Brat, what his was. So Haschwald, you know, says, so you're called Bazz, and he introduces himself, says, I'm Jugram. And that's where we get the title page. So anyway, Bazz B goes on banter, saying how great he is, and, you know, pretty much referring to himself in the third person as like this mighty hero guy. So it's, and then he keeps on calling, because of Haschwald's downside of not being able to kill the rabbit with a regular bow and arrow, mind you. He calls him a nooblet and tells him that you would never be able to successfully hunt any type of game. And then Haschel just looks at him with like this really down look. Bazz B yells at him, "Don't give me that face, you're making me look like I'm the bad guy." So Haschel finally, admits, "You're right. Unlike you, I can't even make my sacred bow. I'm a sorry noob." So Bazz B calls Jugram Jugo, and he tells him, "Don't say that." He's like, "I can do it because I'm a natural genius. You're not as hopeless as you say you are." And then Haschel's like, "You're the one that called me a noob." So anyway, Bazz B goes on to explain, "No one else at my age can make something like my sacred bow. It's like if you look at your friends, no one can do it either." And then, Jugram kind of was like, "I don't pay attention to any of that, or I wouldn't know anything about that," because it's kind of saying he doesn't have any friends. He can't put himself around people to really see or compare himself to them. But anyway, Haschel says, "Hey, can you stop calling me Jugo? I hate that nickname." And then Bazz B asks, "Why? What do your parents call you?" Haschel explains his parents are dead and he lives with his uncle. Now why he doesn't like to be called Jugo comes from his uncle, and it's really soon. So Bazz B asks him what his uncle calls him, and Haschel's like, "It's pretty much none of your business, it doesn't even matter." But he asks him if he could leave already because he has to kill one rabbit at least to make it before he can go home. That's when Bazz B throws the rabbit at Jugram's head and just hits him, and he's like, "Ow, what?" And then Bazz B tells him, "Just take it. I don't really hunt game for food. I just do it for, to flaunt my skills," is what he tells him. And then he takes off one of his cloak pins and throws it with his little logo, his little Bazz B logo. And he hands it and throws it to him, bounces on the ground, and he tells him, "Jugo, you're one of my followers from now on." And he also tells him, "Don't pay attention to what anyone tells you." He's like, "I'm going to teach you everything you need to know, and we're going to become the strongest Quincy's out there." So, Jugo, or Jugram, see, he's got me saying that. Jugram looks on, and then, as Bazz B's jumping away, Jugram's uncle comes up. He says, "I've been looking for you everywhere." He's like, "Don't go wandering into the forest by yourself. You can't survive out here without me, right?" And it says, "My adorable little Jugo." And I'll get down to that panel, but the next image that we see in this page is Bazz B running towards the castle that was on fire in the end of the last chapter. And this is going to be another talking point. But Jugram's uncle, calling him Jugo, "My adorable little Jugo." Now, in the past, we have had very ambiguous notions that there have been some type of sexual harassment of some kind. A lot of people don't realize, though, but the reason why Geen wanted to kill Aizen is because Aizen, the men that he was patrolling, or he was controlling, his little squad of no-life Shinigami, actually had violated in some way Rangiku, and that's why he had such clear hatred. In the anime, it doesn't really go into much detail. It shows them beating her up. In the manga, it's less ambiguous than it is in the anime. You kind of get that sense that there is something going on. So this, My Adorable Jugo, and it's just him and his uncle out in the freaking boonies, pretty much in the forest. So I think that Jugram may have suffered abuse from his uncle, either in sexual form or just, as I imagine, the way this is making it seem, it's kind of like that. But that's just thoughts, theory, if you will. Now, anyway, this castle that Bazz B runs towards is very symbolic, but we'll get to that after we make it to that panel, that particular one. So anyway, we get back to Bazz B and Haschel fighting in the present time. And he asks him, "Warwell, was it? Isn't this Silburn?" He's referring to the castle. "When did it become the name of a castle?" So this is, Warwell is probably a castle from the past or something. It's just kind of ambiguous. It's not really, doesn't make it known what the hell it is. So anyway, it's like, are you gonna tell me there's no reason for me to tell you anyway? He's mocking Haschwalth, saying that it used to be your favorite thing to say. Haschwalth responds, let's take this outside. If we continue to fight here, the castle will sustain more collateral damage. This pisses Bazz B off. As I said, anyway, I'll get that in a sec. Burner Finger 3. He unleashes it, goes crazy. He's like, all this energy's flying up. Haschwalth gets ready to, defend, and that's when we see Haschwalth's eye. And I referred to the previous meaning of what that could mean for them. Anyway, when Bazz B gets upset, Haschwalth disregards his talking to him, his dialogue, and just says, let's take this outside. It's the castle. It's pretty much like a slap in the face to Bazz B. Bazz B is trying to reach out to his friend, and all Haschwalth's doing is really just covering for the Sternritter, for Juha. He's not making an attempt to take Bazz B really serious for what he's trying to do on the personal level. He's just kind of like, this is my duty, and I don't care about my personal feelings anymore kind of deal. So anyway, we get another flashback panel, and this is where Bazz B, his castle that he's running towards, is on fire. And it says, half a year ago, I met Jugo. The small castle where my family lived was burnt down. So, just real quick, just another throw out there. What is Bazz B? He lives in a castle. Was he just a peasant within the castle walls, or was he some type of royalty? Now, the way he was dressing, it was pretty expensive looking, so I'd say he's either a descendant of royalty, and that's why Juha, this is the last castle, well, one of the last castles he conquered before they wanted to go on to Soul Society for the first time. So anyway, I'd say Bazz B in some regards kind of some type of royalty, or he's from a noble family, I'd say. So anyway, he starts describing that the monster, who is Juha, came with supernatural powers and not with a conventional bow and arrow, meaning not the conventional Quincy bow and arrow, sacred bow. And at this time, he's only over 200 years old. Now, we know that Juha is actually over 1,000 years old now. And he is the quote-unquote original Quincy. So he's like the father of all Quincy by this time. So that at this rate, the Quincy are only 200 years old, which is a lot older than what the anime and what the manga originally stated the Quincy as being. But he didn't really, Bazz B says he doesn't really care about that. So anyway, we get a panel, a really dirtied up, bruised Bazz B with Jugram in the back. It says, we're gonna kill Wok, or Juha. Man, I don't know how you say it. I say Juha, I'm so used to that. So anyway, Haschwalth asks, you want me to go too? And Bazz B's like, well, unless you want to stay in the forest where you guys live, it's all burnt to ash. That's fine with me. It's all you want. Go do that. And then Haschwalth explains, my uncle died in the fire. So Bazz B says, I see. Well, after that, the next page, we get Bazz B's monologue explaining that after the main palace had burnt down, they got all the loose change they could, and they lived off that. And then they trained themselves day and night to become stronger so they could kill Juha. And then that's when they came to a mutual understanding that in order to kill him, they'd have to earn his trust. And then we get a 5 years later thing. And then we get a very familiar looking Quincy, I'd imagine. Older guy, kind of looks like Sternritter but a little differences. Not as bushy mustache, and he's wearing an eye patch, so there's that. So anyway, we get a new vanguard, you say, he asks. And then he continues to ask, well, since we've conquered this kingdom of light, then nothing else needs to be conquered. And he's like, and a vanguard really wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. And that's when Juha retorts, is like, the next place we're going to be conquering is Soul Society. And then that Quincy's like, what? We cannot achieve that without the means of a new power. So I assume, this may be, I can't really tell, but this is probably before Juha got all of his strength. Maybe this is where they start developing the idea of stealing Bankai, which, as we know, ended up being nothing. It was like whenever in the Arrancar arc, like the Vaster Lordes, like that was the big deal. They could wipe out Soul Society and da 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 da, and really it was nothing. And Bankai stealing was essentially just poor, except that Juha still has Yamamoto's, so there's that. Anyway, Juha says, this vanguard shall come to be known as the Sternritter, and that's the origin of them. And it just so happens that Bazz B and Haschwalth are now two of the first members of the Sternritter, which means they go way back. And if they were still on that that goal of killing him, Haschwalth is right there with them. Now, as we know in the last chapter, Bazz B, Haschwalth explains to Bazz B, I guess you were not worthy, meaning he got his Voltstangen stolen from him. So Bazz B, maybe Juha knew Bazz B's intents. And maybe he knows Haschwalth's too, that's why he's keeping him so close. But, we'll have to wait and see. Personally, with the whole, so many J's over here. Jugram's uncle, and the way he talked and came out and explained my uncle died in the fire. I personally, I don't know why, I just got this vibe for that, for this particular explanation. I think that Jugram actually killed his uncle. I don't know. But anyway, so what do you guys think? Do you think that Haschwalth is actually going to have a redemptive quality? I kind of feel like Bazz B's going to die, I'm not going to lie. So is he going to kill Bazz B, and that's going to be like trust almighty for Juha and him? Or do you think that he's going to side with Bazz B? And I just don't see that. My only other thought is that whenever he's going to crush Bazz B, maybe doesn't kill him, Haschwalth, whenever, as we know, gets the Juha's power at night, or as the king rests, as they say, is he going to try to use that power to kill Juha? I really don't see that happening, because I think Haschwalth's going to be one of the big bad battles that happens. But I don't know. What do you guys think? If you have any theories of your own, you have any predictions, leave them in the comments below. We'll have ourselves a nice conversation about this. But yeah, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.